Hello and welcome back to Void Dreaming. We'll be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after the conversation with Anwell. So, he basically wants Rail to advocate for him on his behalf with Zuberi in order to try to convince him to take him to the coordinates, which will allegedly clear his sister and himself, and will implicate BSS and something. I say allegedly because I don't still believe him. And they could all be a trap or whatever. We don't know. I mean, he might be a pirate adjacent and basically just running away from his crew or something. I don't know. Anywho, there was also a little awkward encounter between Rail and Anuel where you basically spurn him. And he's like, oh no, I'm so ugly. Oh my god, I know. Oh, and I'm so dramatic. Oh, how could anyone like me? And it's like, yeah, dude, just calm down. It's just, you're not my type. Jesus. But yeah. What else? He did the whole little introduction where they were basically having him doing that in order to try to compare his story with what they already know, which is, like the ship is stolen. It was en route to some weird place, and supposedly it explains away why he is where he was, and some other stuff. And I kind of don't believe his story. And not just because I don't like him, but it seemed a little too... I don't know. I just didn't believe him. What else? I think that's basically it. Pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, we're about to finish up the update, I believe. So yeah, without further ado, let us continue Void Dreaming. So where would Rail like to head to? I kind of already know more or less. You pretty much only have like one major interaction that you can take part in, so I think that I'm just gonna go with the person that I always go with. The commissary, and some food might not go awry. You decide to take a peek into the commissary. As you make your way inside, you spot Bromka working away at the replicator and cooker unit. He looks up at you as you enter, smiling warmly as he lays eyes on you. Hello, Rail. Hey, Bromm. How are you doing? He nods down at the replicator with a chuckle. Oh, you know me. Tweaking, upgrading, improving, trying to make this machine dance for me. May I be of assistance? You know, actually, maybe you can. The bear was my goal. I can tell you right now that you won't find Zuberi alone. You won't find Sam alone either. I really don't know where Kalia is or where Miz is because I don't really care about Miz at all. So yeah, this is pretty much your only option, because I think Tolmany right now is resting, so you can't really spend any time with her either. I was hoping to spend some time with you, if you'd like. The bear grins wide and nods as he waves a paw towards the replicator. By all means, your company's most welcome. I don't suppose that you know much about replicator technology? You tilt your head as you make your way over to the bear. It's not that you don't know, you're just surprised by the request. I've written soft for them before, so I definitely know the way that they work on the digital level. Why do you ask? Need some help with something there? He shakes his head, grumbling something under his breath in his native tongue, before giving a slightly too firm slap to the top of the machine. I've just been meaning to apply some upgrades to this thing's core matrix for a while now. Doesn't seem like you need an upgrade, given how good you are with that thing. He turns to you with a chuckle. Be glad that you were not subject to my experimentation yesterday. It would have changed your mind in an instant. Bromm, I don't think that you could screw something up so bad that it tastes that awful. He grimaces and shakes his head. Ah, would that your kindness were true. It is not so, unfortunately. But that was then, and this is now. I believe that I can correct that most unfortunate circumstance with this update. You look down at the replicator main control console. The display for the device is lit up, showing complex strings of code. To your eye, the code is not particularly clean. There is redundancies all over the place, just from the brief look that you take at it. You wrote this yourself? It was the only way to circumvent some of the inherent failsafes built into the replicator base code. I admit that I am not the most technically minded person, but I have researched the matter extensively on the Galnet, and I have been building this patch for the better part of 5 months. Given Bromm's affinity for cooking, this could be the best chance that you have to get a sense on his feelings regarding Anwell for the captain. I guess opening up the system could be, good. Do some more varied meals? I bet Anwell would really appreciate it, huh? Yeah. Bromka frowns, glancing up at you before he shrugs. The right meal can always help someone who is suffering. He has not expressed any interest in my cooking yet, though. Well, that sounds like his loss. Think you'd be willing to put something together for him? That makes the bear smile. Perhaps. The smile fades moments later into a sigh. But after today, I feel hunted more than ever. I hope that the ship that came looking for us was not there for him. I am not so naive as to believe it, though. You nod along. It's good that he's not just putting everything on hope, and you can't exactly blame him for his worry. Maybe that'll satisfy Zuberi. Well, if you've been working on this for this long, I'm sure that your cooking can help us all get through this. This is my hope. If all these months on the Galnet research are for nothing, I don't know what I'll do. You glance over at the replicator display and frown at the messy code. Oh dear, he really isn't good at this sort of thing. Fortunately, it's exactly your thing. Did you test the code into a virtual environment before uploading it to the replicator? Bronco just blinks at you, and you sigh as you reach past him to the console. With a couple of key taps, several sections of his code begin to flash red. What does that mean? It means, unfortunately, that you're no soft whiz. Not like you, I guess. Only because it's literally my job. Here, and here. Syntax errors. Whatever tutorials you were working on were using different models of a replicator. Proprietary stuff, if I had to guess. And this section here, that's from a whole other code language even I don't know. It won't recognize it at all. Sorry, Bromm, but you load that in now and you're just gonna black the replicator. The bear's shoulders droop as he leans back against the wall. He looks so defeated. You can't have him like that. But it's not a complete disaster. It sounds like one. Sounds like it and are two different things. I can go over it for you if you want. See if I can get it cleaned up enough to not black it. He frowns at the machine. I'd appreciate that, Rail. Thank you. Just, what do you mean, blacking? You chuckle. Poor thing really was out of his depth. Just a term soft devs use. When the screen goes dead and nothing's working because we've screwed something up, it's all black, empty, off, critical failures that require a lot of work to correct. I did back up the codebase before I did any of this. I mean, if that helps. That helps a lot. Bromm, good thinking. He needs the boost, you reason, and from the way that his face lights up at the praise, you can tell that you were right. It'll make the whole process easier for me if I make a mistake here. Would you mind backing up a little? Just needs a little bit more room. He does so, still smiling as he reaches out to pat your shoulder. You don't need to help like this, you know. You shake your head as you begin to work away at the console. It's not like you could just leave him flailing. Besides, this is what feeds the whole crew. You don't plan on going hungry yourself. Come on, with you giving me those eyes, how could I not help? He actually laughs at that, and the paw on your shoulder begins to massage gently at you. It's a bit odd to only have one shoulder being rubbed, but the bear's paws are surprisingly comfortable. I have to remember this. How did I do it? Were they wider? Did I look sad? I'm not gonna help you weaponize cuteness against me, Bromm. Not with that attitude, at least. Come, you must help me. I already am. I can fix the replicator upgrade, or I can help you manipulate me with that big, sad face. What's it gonna be? He sighs as the pot drops from your shoulder. I suppose that I best let you work, Nase. At least if you want to eat any time today. He chuckles, nodding to himself as he backs away again. Trust me, no one would be more sad than I. You smirk and return your attention to your work. The bear's coding is a mess, but you should be able to salvage this. Maybe even make it work the way that he intended it to. For the next while, you feverishly work away on the replicator's main console. Bromm, long since having moved aside to let you work, watched on for the most part from the table. You catch him now and again staring at you with a mixture of gratitude and wonder. Your ears do redden whenever you catch his glance. If anything, that only seems to make him stare all the harder. When finally you think your work is complete, you isolate a V-slice off the ship's main computer system and run the code in a spoofed, shared model after the replicator unit. It goes off without a hitch. The shard reports full integration and functionality. You call Bromm back over to your side again. I think that's it. The bear hurries over towards you as you hit the keys that integrate the new code into the replicator systems. Wait, already? I thought you have to take longer. Well, there was a good base to work from here. Made it easy to actually get this done in a decent time frame. And besides, this is something that I like to do, so... You shrug, only to gasp for air as Bromm's arms wrap tightly around your middle and pull you into an overwhelmingly massive hug. A miracle worker. Na letan. Aknu nek. Sareka. Levi arim rail. You only catch part of that. Part of it is because of the bear's foreign language. The other half is you imagining the cracking of your ribs in his overtight embrace. You save us all. Food shall flow. Sustenance for everyone. Are you alright? Air. Oh. He releases you immediately, letting you drop back to the deck with a gasp for breath. You suck in deep lungfuls of oxygen as you sag forward. I am so sorry. You wheeze, your voice a little raspy, as you wave a paw at him. It's fine. I'm good. You clear your throat as you straighten up. He looks absolutely mortified. Just give me some warning next time, alright? Yes, of course. Again, I am so sorry. I just got excited. Caught that. Thanks. You smile to reassure him as a replicator chimes to alert you. It's completed the data integration. Alright, sounds good. Looks like the update took. You see? A miracle worker. I wouldn't go that far. But hey, this is your arena now. Wanna give it a try? I absolutely do. Thank you, Rail, and thank you again. You chuckle as you step aside, letting the bear in as he sets immediately to work. You watch him for a few moments before he nods and smiles wider. Everything is here! You smile back at him. You weren't sure before, but now you find yourself also feeling a little relieved that it all worked out. I'm glad to hear it. What's on the menu today? He strokes at his chin as he scrolls through the options again. Tempting as it is to see this upgrade really work, I think it's best that we just work with what we already know. We've taken up enough of your time after all. Here, this will do nicely. Karalmi, a Volpine specialty roast carried forward from their pre-ascension days. And he's tapping away at the controls. You can see that he's fully back into his element now. Any trace of his concern is gone. It's a relief to see. Any reason? It was a celebratory meal. In times before Enlightenment, when their lands were ruled by mighty monarchs, the peoples of the main continent of Paul Frini would hold great celebratory feasts. The Karalmi was a great avian, and a single bird could feed over a dozen hungry foxes. Thankfully, with the replicators, we can portion that down from a dozen foxes to the two of us. That's good. I don't think Zuberi would like if we made enough food to last the whole crew for a few days. He chuckles and pats his belly. You should revise that estimate down. I can eat a lot. The bear uses his other paw to activate the system, and the replicator begins to work. You watch it as Bromm folds his arms and nods to himself. Hey, you don't mind if I ask something? It might be too personal. Bromka's head turns slightly to bring you into view. He looks more curious than concerned as he gives you the nod. What was that all about back there? I don't understand. It was like you shut down entirely when I found those faults and had to fix your code. I just, wonder why. He sighs and closes his eyes after a moment. There he stands, still as a statue, as he thinks over his response. Maybe the question was more personal than even you worried. You don't have to answer. No, it's all right. Just difficult. I do not handle disappointment. Not very well, anyway. Yeah, I got that. Well, it is hard to explain to an outsider. Among my culture, not bears as a whole, but the culture that I was raised in, success was an expectation. No task was to be undertaken until we were certain that it would be a success. To do anything else was to waste time and effort. But everyone makes mistakes, and sometimes things are just out of our control. The bear chuckles, but it's a mirthless sound. Indeed, in striving to control all variables, we lose the essence of what we are trying to accomplish. We lose our part of the process. Since leaving my home, I have come to see it this way. The Kal-Nith, or the One Way, as much more flawed than my fellows. If mechanical precision was all that was valued, why not turn everything over to machines? You mull over your answer as a replicator pings to alert you to the finished process. Bromka opens a replicator door and the aroma of meat and vegetables wafts out. He reaches it, withdraws 2 plates full of food. With his paws busy, you grab some cutlery and clear his route to the table before following him. He doesn't continue until you sit down with him. You are offered one of the plates and in turn pass him some utensils. Cooking as a process is difficult for them, and for me because even now I strive for perfection. I mean, your cooking is pretty damn perfect, and the replicators make everything exactly how you want. He blanches and nods as he pokes at the piece of the light-colored meat on his plate. Replicators make things exactly as you want, yes, but they do not make it exactly how you need. This was a divide that my people could not understand. So Bar and Siv, Niva, so stuck in their ways and thoughts. Never wanting the new, never wanting the untested, never wanting to push boundaries. Bromka shakes his head as he brings a piece of the meat to his muzzle. He breathes deep, drinking in the scent for a moment before popping it into his muzzle. You do the same. The meat is rich, spiced with something that adds a real kick that was just barely within your personal tolerance. It's good, but it's a lot. As you swallow, you look the bear up and down. He almost sounds bitter as he explains. So you said that they value perfection. Why not turn everything over to the machines like you said? Because they have no spark, no fire to feed. They are not people. You chance a quick look upward, but Oba is silent. You wonder for a moment if she didn't hear, before you mentally kick yourself. Of course she heard. She always hears. That she's not interrupting is definitely telling, though. So it has to be done by a person. It has to be done perfectly, and any deviation from the perfect is unacceptable. In essence, it is a very exacting set of rules to live by, but those who follow the Kal-Nith value the effort to hone a skill to perfection, that divine expression be found within. So, why use a replicator? He chuckles quietly at that, but there is a sharper note to the sound than you were ready for. Necessity. Not that I am unable to cook in a more traditional manner. Take the Tel Nuvana, for instance. It is a traditional Hevri dish. My father eats it at least once a week. I can cook this meal rail. I can prepare it from the raw ingredients and cook it as tradition demands. I can make this meal perfectly. You nod, chewing your mouthful as you listen. He's clearly going somewhere with this, but where? But but it cannot be crafted by Replicator. Failsafes in the system prevent it from being used to manufacture toxins, and several of the items used to craft Telm Nuvana qualify. The meal is not hazardous, but the machine believes it to be. It is what I had hoped that this update would do, overcome the failsafes to allow me to finally craft Telm Nuvana as it should be. Okay, so what's the problem? He pushes some of his meat about in his plate with a fork. The problem is in the method. I have turned my back to the old ways. In the eyes of many, I've abandoned them by doing what I do. Overcoming this problem it is important to me, Rail. If I can finally do this and twist Ascension technology to my needs in a way that none of my fellows have, I can prove it worthy of them. Somehow you think that it's not the Replicator's worth that Bromm is trying to prove to them. I'm not gonna tell you to not care about this, or even not to do it. I just wonder if it's worth it. It's clearly putting a lot of pressure on you, and you don't need that. Pressure? He laughs and shakes his head, and you can see the bear is finally relaxing again. I pilot an exploration starship in the deepest reaches of space. When I am not doing that, I am following my passions. There is no pressure to be found here, and I do not mean the vacuum of space. The bear's still smiling, but you have to admit that you're not entirely convinced. Still, there isn't much that you can do if he doesn't want to discuss it. Well, for what it's worth, I think that you'll get there. Bromm's smiles widens further. I have no doubt of this. Not now that you have helped me overcome the troubles of the Replicator itself. Maybe this update will work, maybe it will not. But I am a step closer on the path that I have chosen, and I am incredibly grateful for your assistance. You shrug and smile. You're just happy to have helped. If you keep paying me in food this good, I think that I might have to give Zuberi notice of my intention to resign from this crew. And you are most kind to say. Thank you, Rail, and again for your assistance. Anytime, Bromm, seriously. He shakes his head, grinning ear to ear. Anytime? Rail, you are not at my call like a servant. Well, if you ever need one, you know where to find me. Bromm laughs, and he shakes his head again before diving back into his plate of food. You do the same, your chewing doing little to curb your own grin. It's nice, after all, what just happened, to see Bromm's normal self restored, and maybe if he needs help in the future, he won't beat himself up nearly so bad about it. The meal proceeds relatively quickly. You tell Bromm's exhausted in the wake of everything, and it's the end of a long day for you both. On top of that, you're feeling the fatigue as well by the end. The full stomach doesn't hurt, nor does accompany as conversation turns away from the matters of self-doubt and perfectionism into more fantastical musings as to what tomorrow's shift will bring. You didn't get a chance in the middle of all the repair work or the Bromm calming that followed to ask about Annawell and how the doctor is feeling about the Martins' presence. It's something that you'll probably have to take a moment another time to go over with them, at least if you want to do as Zuberi asked you to. By the time that your reader lets you know that third shift is ending and it's about time that you headed back to your quarters, you can only sigh and wish that you had a little longer to keep talking. Bromm too seems frustrated by the reminder, but he helps you again profusely for your aid before he cleans up after you both. You offer to help, but he claims that this is the least that he can do. It's a sweet offer, and he's not willing to let you help him besides. You at least keep him company before you both leave for your quarters for the night. It may not have been how you intended to spend the last of your free time today, but helping Bromm out of a bind is definitely a positive. Besides, you shudder to think of what might have happened if you had not been there to help. Thankfully, as you make your way to your room, you won't have to know. You reach the door of your quarters with a sigh. You didn't get nearly as much time to do as you pleased, not compared to yesterday. Still, that's just the way things are going to be on the ship from this point forward. You'd best get used to the routine. Not every day is going to see you pick up a spacer stranded in the black. Your quarters open up before you, and you step inside. You extend your arms, stretching the muscles there with a groan before dropping them back down again. As the door closes, you eye off the refresher. It's probably in your best interest to get a look into that, now that you think about it. The cycle you put on isn't the longest one, but it should do the trick. You do spend what time you can trying to relax in the refresher, fighting back a yawn. As the refresher cycle finishes up, you hear a click above you.
You should put some pants on.
Don't need pants for sleep, Oba.
But you do need them for company. The captain is waiting at the door for you.
Maybe he wants to know if you've learned anything new from the crew about Anwell. Tell him I'll be there in a moment, please.
Only because you asked so nicely.
She falls silent again, and you quickly step out of the refresher and back into your room. It's the work of barely a minute before you pull all of your clothes on and nod. Okay, I'm decent. The door slides open and there stands the captain. He's wearing his full uniform. You have to expect that he was headed to the bridge to prepare for the first shift. Rail, can I come in? Yeah, of course. You step aside, waving for him to enter. Hope that you don't mind, I was just getting ready for bed. Sorry, this'll only take a moment. The door closes behind him as he looks you over and nods. Can't take too long. I have a shift to get to, but I need to ask about Anwell, if you learned anything more about him. He did seem pretty eager to talk with you after he left the commissary. Did he have anything to say? Well, that's a question and a half, if you have ever heard one. Yeah, he was pretty eager to talk to me, thank me for saving his life and all that. He's been doing that a lot. Yeah, this was especially interesting. He wasn't looking to use his words. Wink, wink. Seems saving his life gave him a bit of a new appreciation for wolves. He wanted to do something else with his muzzle to thank me. A wink, a wink. Zubair's ears perk as he leans in a little closer. Did he now? Interesting. And did you... No, I didn't. Wouldn't have felt right. Like I was taking advantage. Not sure that I'd blame you for it, but you probably did the right thing. Did he say anything outside of that? Anything that I should know? Honestly, only one part really stands out. He mentioned how badly that he wants to get to the coordinates his ship was locked to reach when we found him. Like, he really, really badly wants to get there. Wanted me to advocate for him, if I could, try and convince you to change our course. Hope that you told him that you don't have the power. Sure did, and honestly, even if I had the power in this situation, I don't know if that's how I'd come down on it. Too many unknown factors at play right now. It's not the sort of situation that I'd be comfortable flying my whole crew into. I'm not comfortable about a lot of this rail. Uncomfortable isn't exactly out of the way. I guess not, but still, I said that I'd let you know, not that I'd advocate for him. And you did the right thing, letting me know. Thanks. You nod to him. It doesn't do Anwell any favors, of course, but it's something. Anything else? Nothing that comes to mind. Just friendly stuff after that. Alright, thanks for keeping me up to date, Rail. I do appreciate it. He hesitates as he glances at the door. I don't have a lot of time, but heard anything from the crew? Anything that I need to know? Given you didn't get a chance to speak to him yesterday, you could probably do both days at once. Still, a pang of unease runs through you. This whole spying thing doesn't sit right. Maybe. What do you want to know? Zubairi nods as he briefly adopts a thoughtful expression. He probably is trying to figure out where to start. Anything from Bromm stand out? Probably nothing more than in his medical report to you. Bromm's maintaining some healthy skepticism, but he's also a doctor. He wants Anwell better. That's why I like having him on board. He's softer. You nod. Given Kalia, Sam, and Miz, someone with a bigger heart, literally and figuratively, would make for a nice change. Nothing really changed today. He's definitely still worried about the situation, especially after the scout ship. What we think was a scout ship. Yeah, but other than that, nothing that should make you worried. The older wolf just shakes his head and sighs. Bromm being worried is worrying enough. True, but he's a doctor. It's his job to worry. I guess so. Fair enough. What about Miz? I didn't catch anything from him, sorry. Right, Sam? Tomini? Anything at all? Briefly, you wonder if you should mention the thing in Tomini's environment yesterday. Only briefly, however. The otter seemed to want to tackle the issue herself, So long as it remained there, you can't imagine it being an issue for anyone else. Besides, you're entirely certain that it has nothing to do with Anuel. It's not relevant to what Zuberi asked of you. Didn't really hear anything from Sam that might give away their feelings, but I'm pretty confident that they're not in Anuel's favor. That sounds right. As for Tolmany, well, I didn't hear anything from her, not about Anuel. That's a shame. She's pretty insightful, more than you might think for a Saib. You just shrug. He had specific information that he wanted, and you don't have it. Alright then. I'm sorry that I couldn't catch you yesterday about this, but I appreciate you doing this. It really means a lot. You nod and sigh with relief. You okay? I said it before. It doesn't sit right with me. It feels wrong. Hopefully I won't have to ask you to do anything of the sort once we figure out what we're doing with them. That the captain doesn't have a plan figured out already is surprising, but it makes a little sense. After all, why make plans when you've already got someone still gathering information for you? You're not gonna ask about Kalia? I've got a pretty good read on her, unless you heard something that you want to add? Nothing comes to mind. I was just curious. Can't argue with that. And I know that this is taking a toll. I'm sorry, and I am grateful. I'm glad that you recognize it. I'll be gladder when it's over. You and me both, trust me. He glances at the door just as it slides open. Looks like Oba is keeping track of things, and he does have to go. I guess that's my cue. Thanks again, Rail. I'll catch you later. Sure, have a good shift, sir. He nods as he steps out into the corridor, but you do catch a smile on his muzzle as he leaves. Then the door closes, and you're left alone again. Well, that's all done, at least. You glance over at your sleeping pad. It almost feels like it's calling to you. At this point, it may as well be. And honestly, with Zuberi having headed off, there's nothing to really keep you up. You strip your clothes back off. It's a shame that you had to put them all back on for that, and drop them into the laundry receptacle. With a sigh, you sit down on the edge of your sleeping pad. The lights begin to dim around you as Oba takes control of them. Thanks, Oba.
Only the best for my favorite crew member. Well, second favorite. Top 3, definitely.
Are you sure?
Definitely top 10.
There aren't even 10 crew aboard.
I said what I said.
You roll your eyes and smile as you lay yourself down on the pad. Good night, Oba.
Good night, Stray. Sleep well.
You smile. You have no intention of doing anything else. The lights dim the rest of the way as you close your eyes. You shift, moving yourself about as your pad adjusts beneath you to try and make yourself comfortable. It doesn't really work until you stop long enough to let it, but once it does, you find yourself falling slack into it, relaxing against the malleable surface. You breathe out. You drift off quicker than you had expected you would, consciousness gratefully fading into the dark. To be continued. So this was a short one. Mostly because you don't get to move around a lot, and you do get to go to some places where there's nobody. For example, you can go back and look at the place where Oba's mind is, and she won't let you in. But it'll be like, I like you, but I'm not gonna let you back in. You can go and visit Sam, but they are busy. You won't find Zuberi alone, because they're busy. You can go to the rec room, and I believe Tolmany is there, but she is busy, I guess, resting / working on the environment, because if you recall, there is a weird thingy in there. You can go to the observation room, but there is nobody there. And you can go into the medical place, but obviously Bromka is not there. There's nobody there. You can go to the gym and you can work out if you want, but there's nobody there. Like, everyone's busy, basically. So you just end up with Bronca, or you run into two people busy with each other. But yeah. Also, in case you didn't hear, or in case you didn't see it, if you do not decide to spend time with Anwell will have a very similar conversation with the captain, which you can snoop on to your detriment and to your eyes. Well, no, basically just to your detriment, because you kind of end up talking about it with the captain later. But basically the same thing that I went through with him, the captain ends up having to go through with him, and he ends up saying like, no, we're not doing this, dude. Get away. But yeah, so it's kind of funny. But it is also a little telling that he's apparently very, like, the only way, well, I'm pretty sure that it's not intentional, but it's kind of funny because it appears like the only way that he can thank people is to try to give him a blowjob. So, anyways, yeah. But yeah, I liked spending time with Bronca. He is ultimately one of 3 of my favorite characters. The other ones being Tolmany and the other one being Oba. And like, there's the captain underneath too, I guess. But like I've told people, I am immune to wolf propaganda now, so like, I don't just like the captain because he's a wolf and because like, come on people, like, I have read your comments where it's like, oh my god, he's so hot. It's like, is that the only reason you're watching this? But yeah, anyways, Bronca, my favorite. I'd like to learn more about him. I think I will give some of the other characters a try too. I kind of feel like it would be to my detriment to not, at the very least, build some rapport with them or whatever. Like, get to know them a little bit more. And, you know, at least as far as spying is concerned, you know? Anywho, so if I recall correctly, and the next day, which is going to be the next build, we're going to be doing some nerding out with Bromka, Tolmany, maybe Tolmany, the captain and Miz. We're going to be playing D&D. If I understood that correctly, because I mean, you're playing pretend and you're using math. Where do you play pretend and you use math, if not D&D? So like, yeah. Anywho, so yeah, we have that to look forward to in the future. Another shift, I believe, with Halia and Bromka. So there is also that to look forward to, which kind of sucks. I want to go back to the captain. But anyway, so yeah. I wonder if the crew will eventually find out that you are kind of, sort of spying on them. Because you can say no. And the story does progress with you saying no, with you not really spying. So yeah. But I kinda... I mean, I already locked it in, I'm not gonna change it. But yeah. I'm not looking forward to that eventual revelation where I've been spying on people, even though I would have the captain and Kalia on my side. And maybe even Oba. Although Oba would probably go like, well, what did you expect? But yeah. Anyways, so yeah, what are your thoughts so far? Write it down in the comments, and thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Void Dreaming yourself, you can do so by going down into the link in the description, which should have a direct link for the itch.io page where you can download and play the game yourself. If you would like to support the project, you can become a Patreon member, which gives you earlier access to builds of Void Dreaming. I don't really know how their builds work, but I think that I might be confusing it with someone else or another team or whatever, that they have the very early build, then they have the work in progress build, and then they have the actual build, and then that build ends up becoming public. So yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that you also get to see some other stuff, I guess, but yeah. Anyway, so I guess that's it. Oh, also, if you would like to support this channel, become a channel member. And it does help support me on the channel. And you get to watch these videos earlier as they're being scheduled, which is usually like 2 weeks in advance, maybe like a week and a half, it depends. It depends on what I'm doing. These are coming out later than expected because I was playing Silk Song. But yeah. Also, Ko-fi in case you feel generous. In case you can support through the channel memberships, because I know that it's not available in all countries. But there is Ko-fi. And Throne if you're feeling overly generous. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah. I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.